Step back. Come even again. Other side. Brush your knee, step forward. Brush your knee, step down. Brush your knee, step back. Brush your Okay. This lesson is called Balance and Recovery. What you'll be doing here is standing on one leg and actually getting the other leg completely up off the floor, and then stepping down into a bow and arrow or a horse and landing without a sound. So it's, in a sense, it's a controlled loss of balance, and you'll be doing it in several directions, but one thing at a time. Let's start by making sure you've got a clear space around you. And you might even want to set your chair away from you a little bit. Good. And you will start with a tennis ball. And just make sure that if you have to go down to the ground, if you lose your balance and have to go down to the ground, you've got room around you so that you can do that. All right. Let's start with the tennis ball. Set the tennis ball down on the floor. And circle your hips for a moment. Get your hips loosened up a bit. And then shift all your weight over to the right. Set your hands out to the side. This is all very familiar. But this time you're going to put your foot not just touching your toe down, you're going to actually put it on top of the ball. Good. Now you can use this exercise to sensitize the bottoms of your foot by pressing down a little bit or rolling the ball forward and back. But what you're really getting used to here is the strength of this stance, that you can stand on this one leg and the other leg will be able to move. All your weight is definitely on one foot now. All right, let's shift that ball over to the other side. Roll it a little way this way. Set your foot down here. Shift your weight over here. And again, your foot comes up. Set it on top of the ball. Hands out to the side. Feel your balance. Roll the ball a little bit. Put the ball where it's comfortable. Good. You can press down a little bit. See how that feels. Make it hurt good. All right. Mainly you're trying to get the bottoms of your feet sensitive and awake because you're going to be standing on one foot for quite some time. All right. So then let's lose the tennis ball and we'll begin the balance and controlled loss of balance and recovery. So set your feet about shoulder width. Good. Shift your weight over by shifting your hip. All your weight's over your right foot. Your left foot is free. It's ready to move. Now this first one, you lift your knee up and brush it, and then set your foot down out a little bit in the bow and arrow. And when you come down out there, you come down without a sound. It's a very light landing. So let's begin. Your knee comes up and you brush it, and you step down. It's as simple as that. Let's try it again. You're set. Your knee comes up, you brush it, and you step down. Good. Third time. Shift your weight over to the right. Lift your knee and brush, and step down. Okay. Let's go to the right side. Set yourself, knees relaxed, hands ready. Shift your weight by shifting your hip. Pick up your knee and brush and step forward into the bow and arrow. Come back to balance. Shift your weight over to the left. Pick up your knee and brush and step forward into the bow and arrow. Okay. Now as you get steadier, you can stay up a bit longer, can't you? Pick it up, brush, 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 and step forward. Good. Now, the next exercise, very much like the first one, except instead of brushing your knee with this hand, you're going to touch your ankle with this hand. Then step down into a bow and arrow. Your weight is all on one foot. This foot comes up and you step down into the bow and arrow. Here's how it goes. You're here. Put your weight to the right. Pick this up, brush, and step down into the bow and arrow. Again, you're here. Weight shift. Hands ready, ankle, and step down into the bow and arrow. One more time. You're here. Shift, brush, step down into the bow and arrow. You come down without a sound. Other side. Balance, weight shift to the left, hands ready, brush your ankle, and step down without a sound. Bring it back. Weight shift, brush your ankle, step down without a sound. Good. Third time. Weight shift, hands ready, brush, step down without a sound. Good. So each time you lose your balance, you're catching it with this bow and arrow stance. Now, the next one is very similar, except instead of the knee or the ankle, we're going to brush to the outside. We're going to brush the heel back here. So it looks like this. It's going to be a brush to the heel and then a step down into the bow and arrow. Ready? You're balanced. Weight shift to the right. Lift and brush and step down. Again. Weight shift. Brush, step. One more time. Weight shift, brush, step. Good. Other side. Balance. Weight shift, hands ready, brush, step down. Good. Come back to balance. Weight shift, hands, brush, step down. Third time. Steady. Weight shift, hands, ankle, step. Good. Okay, so you can touch your knee, your ankle, and your heel. This next portion of the exercise is going to get a bit more complicated. Besides just stepping forward like this, you can also step out to the side like that into your old friend the horse. Or you're here, you can brush and step back into a bow and arrow. See, your feet are the same position as the forward bow and arrow, except that that one's up here, this one's back here. Look at the feet placement in the bow and arrow. Here, the left foot is the arrow, and the back foot crosses the T, and it's the bow. But when you step back, that changes. Now, the right foot is the arrow, the left foot is the bow. So the feet are in this position. They make a T, or they're in this position. They make a T. Good. That's the bow and arrow front, bow and arrow back. Okay, come back to balance. All right, we're going to brush your knee, step forward into the bow and arrow, brush your knee, step out into the horse, brush your knee, step back into the bow and arrow. We're going to do that to this side and to that side. Let's begin. Set your feet, get your weight down, feel your balance. Shift your weight over to the right, hands out, and lift your knee, brush, step forward into the bow and arrow. Lift your knee, brush, step out into the horse. Lift your knee and step back into the bow and arrow. And then come back here. Let's do it again. Weight shift, brush, step forward. Brush, step out into the horse. Brush, step back into the bow and arrow. Good. Set your feet again, balance. Now this time we're going to go to the right. Ready? Shift your weight over to the left. Hands are ready, eyes are up. Brush and step forward into the bow and arrow. Brush and step out into the horse. Brush and step back into the bow and arrow. Very good. Let's do it again. Settle down, nice and calm. Shift your weight over to the left. All the weight's on one leg. Hands are ready, eyes are up. Good. Brush, step forward. Brush and step out to the side into the horse. And then brush and step back into the bow and arrow. Good. And balance. Now we're going to do all three of those steps again on each side, but instead of brushing the knee, we're going to cross and brush the ankle with this foot. You remember we practiced that before. So settle yourself onto your feet. Shift your weight, all the weight on the right leg. Your hands are out. Brush your ankle. Step forward. Brush your ankle and step out into the horse. Brush your ankle and step back into the bow and arrow. Come up, let's do it again. Settle yourself, keep nice and flexible. Shift your weight. Lift, brush, and step down. Lift, brush, and step out into the horse. Lift, brush, and step back into the bow and arrow. Good. And settle your weight even on both feet. Make sure your balance is there. Shift your hips a little bit. Rest when you have to rest between these exercises. And we're going to go to the right this time. All three positions, brushing the ankle. Okay, so the weight goes over to the left. Hands are ready. Brush your ankle, step forward. Brush your ankle, step out into the horse. Brush your ankle and step back into the bow and arrow. Good. Come again to balance. Shift all your weight to the left. Hands up and ready. And brush your ankle, step forward into the bow and arrow. Brush your ankle, step out into the horse. Good. Brush your ankle and step back into the bow and arrow. And come back to balance. Good. Now we'll do one more, not the knee this time, not the ankle this time. This time it's the heel. It's the heel, a little different. But you'll touch the heel and then step off into the bow and arrow, touch your heel, step into the horse, touch your heel, and step back into the bow and arrow. Let's begin. Settle your weight. Good. Sink down a little bit. Shift your weight over here to the right side. All your weight is on the right foot. Hands are ready. And brush your heel and step forward. Brush your heel and step out to the side. Brush your heel and step back into the bow and arrow. Let's do it again. Balance. Good. Settle down. Feel your weight. All the weight goes onto the right foot. Hands ready, eyes up. Brush your heel, step forward. Brush your heel and step out into the horse. Brush your heel and step back into the bow and arrow. And come to balance. Now we're going to go to the right. And again, it's brushing the heel. It'll be forward, out, back, with a heel brush between each one. Settle your weight. All your weight is on your left leg. Hands ready, eyes up. And brush your heel, step out into the bow and arrow. Brush your heel, step out into the horse. Brush your heel and step back into the bow and arrow. Again, come forward. Settle down. Here we go. Shift your weight to the left. Hands are open and ready. Eyes are up. Brush your heel. Step into the bow and arrow. Brush your heel and step out into the horse. Good. Brush your heel and step back into the bow and arrow. Now, each time you do these, you may wobble a little bit. You may lose your balance in a slightly different direction. That's all to the good. The whole point of these exercises is to have a controlled loss of balance and then a soft landing in a power stance. You're exercising the muscles that when you have an accidental loss of balance, your feet will just find their way to this position. So you practice landing without a sound. When you come down lightly like that, it means that your knees and your ankles stay flexible and not stiff. Good. So come back to balance. And that'll finish lesson 9, balance and recovery. Now, as always, we end our lesson by reviewing something from the voice lesson. Let's try the face masks, the clown masks from the circus tryouts. And let's start with a nice, big, happy smile, right? Really wide, eyes bright. Yeah, hold it till it hurts. Yes. Good. And then relax that and make an angry clown face. Make fists, yeah, yeah. Angry, good. And go from there, relax it for a moment. Do a sad face. Oh, oh. Good, and then relax that and do a scared face. Nice eyebrows way up, eyes real open. Wonderful. Good.